Hello and welcome to Exotic Gardening UK, Yorkshire Kris Weekly, and on this week's episode we'll be looking at 3 fantastic grasses to grow in the exotic garden. This absolutely enormous grass that's enveloping me here either side of the path is Miscanthus Zbrinus crossed with Giganteus, and it is a true colossus of a grass that's way over 3 meters now, and it can get even higher as well. It will flower very late in summer, but they're quite insignificant, the flowers. What we grow it for is the sheer size of the plant. Has absolutely hundreds of stems that are obviously green, but then when the sun goes on them, especially later in the year, they can go really nice reds and yellows as well. And it's a really easy plant to grow because it grows all this height in one season, and it starts growing in May, and by midsummer as it's at its full height. And it's really easy to grow. It's very hardy, quite undemanding. As long as it's got some moisture in the ground, it will grow really tall. But it will grow in sort of drier conditions, but it won't grow anywhere near as tall as what these specimens are here. So I've got this used in a few places in the garden. Here, it's like a divider in the garden, so it goes across the full length of the garden, the width of the garden, and it sort of divides the garden into different areas. I've got it as a spot plant in other areas, and also as a huge sort of mass in one planting bed near the end of the garden as well. And it doesn't send out runners at all. It is very well behaved, so you won't be digging it up all across the garden, and it won't self-seed everywhere as well because it flowers so late in the year. So it will slowly, like herbaceous perennials do, slowly start creeping out, but you can dig it up every few years, chop bits off, turn it round, and it'll reinvigorate it and keep it growing and keep it maintained that way. So an absolutely amazing grass to grow in the garden, really hardy all over the UK, and it's got so many uses for that really good exotic look. This is Arundodonax, or Spanish reed, and it is a true colossus of a grass. It goes up to about 4 or 5 meters at maximum every single year, so it gets cut down every winter, and then all this fresh growth comes up in a matter of weeks, and by midsummer it's at its full height, and it has these beautiful green, slightly glaucous leaves. In this form there's variegated forms as well, but the pure green form is the tallest and most robust and the hardiest grass you can grow in the Arundodonax family. And it has the very thick stems, and the leaves come off sort of flared out at the base, and nice and broad leaves, and these almost look like bamboo, which is sort of a member of the grass family as well. But these, like I said, cut back every year, and then you get this amazing growth every single summer. And it wants to be well watered, or even growing in sort of like a ditch or very sort of wet conditions for the maximum growth and also spread. But if you want it to behave quite well, then grow it in moisture retentive regular garden soil, and you won't have too many problems with it spreading, because it will spread this. It doesn't really send out massive long runners, but because it's such a big plant, it will slowly spread out. And if you've got lots of moisture in the soil, if it's in a ditch basically, or like boggy conditions, it will grow even more vigorously. It'll get taller and it will spread out quite quickly. So good garden soil, and sort of keep it contained a little bit so it doesn't take over a large area. But it's an absolutely amazing, exotic, almost tropical looking grass for the exotic garden. Now this is Miscanthus Zbrinus strictus. It is the zebra grass, and I grow this because of the striking foliage, and it grows to a reasonable height. It'll grow to about 1.52 meters, and the main feature of this grass is the fact that it has these wonderful stripy leaves. So it's got green and yellow stripes, and it just works really well to give that sort of exotic appearance. And I've got it against my jungle hut, so it looks, to me, it reminds me of sort of African sort of grasses, and I like the fact that it's well behaved. So I've got it in quite a, well, very narrow bed here by the path, and it fills this area nicely, and it won't send out runners at all, which is great because you don't want to be having to worry about it taking over your garden. So this is Miscanthus Zbrinus zebra grass, and I think it's a fantastic grass to have in an exotic garden. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening UK. Join me next week, where we're doing more in the garden.